Welcome back to the channel. If you're into coins collecting or just the idea that something ordinary can be secretly worth a fortune, you're going to love this video, Rarest Coins. Today we're diving deep into a very special piece of American currency, the 1965 Washington quarter. Now, this is a coin that most people wouldn't even look twice at. You've probably seen one or even spent one without realizing what you had but did. You know that there are rare versions of this coin that can be worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even one that reportedly sold for a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. That's right, a single quarter from 1965, a 25-cent piece turning into nearly $2 million. So what's the story behind this? What makes the 1965 Washington quarter so unique, and how can you tell if you've got one of the rare valuable ones? Stick with me, and I'll explain everything you need to know. Let's start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932. Originally, it was created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The obverse, or front of the coin, features a profile of Washington, and the design was created by sculptor John Flanagan. The reverse originally showed an eagle with spread wings. This design remained unchanged until the launch of the state quarters in 1999. Now, the year 1965 was a major turning point in U.S. coin history. Up until 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper, but due to rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint decided to switch to a copper-nickel-clad composition starting in 1965. That means quarters from that year going forward are no longer made of silver. They're made of a copper core with a thin layer of nickel on the outside. So most 1965 quarters are made of this clad material and are only worth their face value. However, and this is where it gets really interesting, a very small number of 1,965 quarters were mistakenly struck on silver planchets left over from 1964. That was a minting error, and it created an extremely rare variety. These silver 1965 quarters were never supposed to exist, but a few slipped through the system and made their way into circulation. And because silver coins look almost identical to clad coins, unless you know what to look for, most people had no idea what they had. Now, here's where the value comes in. If you find one of those rare 1965 quarters struck on a silver planchet, it could be worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, depending on its condition. But that's just the beginning. There is one known 1965 Washington quarter that was struck on a 90% silver planchet and is in nearly perfect condition. It was graded and authenticated by one of the top grading companies and later sold for an unbelievable $1.9 million at a private auction. This was not just any silver quarter, it was a flawless example with no wear and a clean, sharp strike, which made it virtually one of a kind. Add to that the mystery of how it was created in the first place, and you have the perfect recipe for a multi-million-dollar collectible. So how can you tell if you have a valuable 1965 quarter? Here are a few important things to look for. Number 1, check the edge of the coin. A standard 1965 quarter should have a visible copper core on the edge. If the edge looks completely silver and there's no copper color showing, that could be a sign it's a silver planchet. Number 2, weigh the coin. A standard clad 1965 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter will weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That small difference in weight can make a huge difference in value. Number 3, listen to the sound. If you drop a silver quarter on a hard surface, it has a distinct high-pitched ring compared to the dull clunk of a clad quarter. Experienced collectors can sometimes tell just by the sound. Number 4, look for clean, sharp details. Silver quarters tend to strike with slightly more detail than clad ones due to the softer metal. Number 5, check for errors. In addition to being struck on the wrong planchet, some 1965 quarters may have die errors like double strikes or off-center strikes. These can also add significant value. If you find a 1965 quarter that fits any of these descriptions, your next step should be to get it professionally graded and authenticated. Companies like PCGS or NGC can examine the coin, determine whether it's made of silver, and assign it a grade. That grade, combined with the rarity, is what determines the value. Even if your coin isn't the legendary $1.9 million version, it could still be worth a lot. Silver 1965 quarters have sold for between $5,000 and $15,000, depending on their condition and rarity, and rare error coins in mint state can also bring in thousands. Now, you might be wondering, how did that $1.9 million quarter even come to light? It wasn't found by a dealer or professional. It was actually discovered by a casual coin collector who had been going through a collection of old change passed down from a relative. They weighed the coin, noticed it was off, and sent it in for grading. What they got back was a coin that would change their life forever. So what's the lesson here? Always check your change. Always look twice at coins from transitional Years like 1965 because sometimes the rarest and most valuable treasures are the ones hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching. I hope this video opened your eyes to the incredible world of coin collecting. If you enjoyed this and want to learn more about other rare coins, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got more amazing stories coming up, including coins that could be sitting in your pocket right now worth thousands of dollars. Drop a comment below if you've ever found an interesting coin, or if you're going to check your 1965 quarters after watching this video. Who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to uncover a million-dollar treasure. Until next time, stay curious and keep collecting. You never know what history might be hiding in your hands. Let me know if you'd like a version optimized for a shorter video or one designed for TikTok or Instagram Reels. I can also help with voiceover tone thumbnails or video title suggestions. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk all about coins, currency, and the amazing hidden treasures you might have sitting in your pocket or change jar. Rarest coins. Today's video is going to blow your mind because we're taking a deep dive into the 1997 Washington quarter and how in some rare cases this 25-cent coin has sold for over $12 million. That's right, a single coin worth over $1 million. Now you might be thinking, what makes a regular quarter from 1997 so special? And how can one be worth more than most people's houses? We're going to cover everything from the history of the Washington quarter to the specific things that make the 1997 version extremely valuable in rare cases, so make sure you watch until the end because you might just discover that you have a small fortune in your possession without even knowing it. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design by sculptor John Flanagan features a profile of George Washington on the obverse or front of the coin. This design became one of the most iconic American coin designs ever used and stayed relatively unchanged until the state quarters program launched in 1999. Now fast forward to 1997. The Denver Mint produced millions of these quarters with a small letter D under the motto "In God We Trust," indicating the mint location. While most 1997 quarters are completely ordinary and only worth face value, there are some very specific exceptions, and these are what turn a regular coin into a jackpot. Let's talk mintage numbers real quick. Over 600 million 1997 quarters were struck. That's a lot of coins, so finding a basic one isn't rare at all. But what makes a handful of them worth hundreds of thousands or even over $1 million are extremely rare minting errors or nearly perfect conditions. Now let's talk about what those valuable versions look like. First, we have the ultra-rare minting errors. These are coins that were struck with defects due to mistakes during the production process. Some of the most valuable errors include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. There are confirmed cases where 1997 quarters were struck on a nickel planchet instead of a quarter blank. That means the coin is slightly smaller and lighter, and the edges might look different. These error coins are rare, and when authenticated by grading companies, they can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. Now imagine combining one of those rare minting errors with a coin that's in pristine condition. That's where you start to see massive values. That's how one 1997 Washington quarter ended up selling at a private auction for an unbelievable $12 million. The coin was virtually flawless with a perfect strike and a mysterious die anomaly that's never been documented before. That combination of mystery, rarity, and condition made it a true one-of-a-kind treasure. Another important thing to look out for is doubling. A double die error happens when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly between strikes, causing a doubled image. This can show up in the letters like Liberty or the numbers and the date. If you find a 1997 quarter with clear doubling, especially if it's in near mint condition, that could be a major score. So what should you be looking for if you want to find one of these valuable coins? Number 1, check the condition. A coin that looks like it just came out of a mint roll has a much higher chance of being worth money. Look for coins with no scratches, wear, or discoloration. Number 2, look closely at the lettering and date for signs of doubling. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe if you have one. Number 3, weigh the coin. A normal quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. If your coin is lighter or heavier than that, it could mean it was struck on the wrong planchet. Number 4, listen to your gut. If something looks strange or different about your coin, don't ignore it. You might be looking at a rare error. Number 5, get it professionally graded. If you really think you have something special, your best move is to send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll evaluate the coin, determine its authenticity, assign it a grade, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder. That's crucial if you want to sell it for top dollar. Now you're probably wondering, what kind of prices do these coins actually sell for? Most 1997 quarters in circulated condition are only worth 25 cents, maybe $1 or $2 if they're in decent shape, but coins in mint state condition can start at $10 to $20 and go up fast. If you find one with a significant error, you could be looking at a value from hundreds to thousands, and in rare cases even seven figures. And here's something else to think about: the $1,1997 D quarter wasn't found by a professional collector, it was discovered by someone sorting through an inherited coin collection. It had been sitting in a drawer for over 20 years completely unnoticed. That just shows that anyone could find one of these coins with a little luck and a sharp eye. So before you go spending any 1997 D quarters, be sure to check them out carefully. That small coin in your hand might just be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worth more than a luxury car or even your house. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos on rare coins, valuable currency, and tips to help you become a smarter collector. And let me know in the comments, have you ever found a rare coin, or do you have a 1997 D quarter sitting around that you're about to check after this video? Until next time, keep hunting. Your treasure might be just one coin away. Let me know if you want this tailored for a specific tone like educational documentary style or energetic influencer style. I can also help you with the thumbnail, title, or voiceover script if you're planning to record it yourself. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a coin collector or just someone who loves incredible stories about money, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Today, we're diving deep into a very specific coin, the 1993 D Washington quarter. Now, on the surface, this might look like just another quarter you'd find in your pocket change, but believe it or not, some versions of this coin are worth a staggering amount of money. We're talking hundreds of thousands, even up to $13 million. In one extreme and rare case, yeah, you heard that right, a single 25-cent coin possibly worth over $1 million. So how is that possible? Let's break it down. First, let's talk a little bit about the history of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse of the coin features a profile of George Washington, while the reverse initially showed an eagle with wings spread. That design stayed in place until the state quarters program began in 1999, but we're focusing on the 1993 D quarter. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was produced. That year, both the Philadelphia and Denver Mint struck millions of these coins. In fact, the Denver Mint alone produced over 600 million quarters in 1993. So you're probably wondering what makes any single one of them valuable. Here's where things get interesting. While most 1993 D quarters are only worth their face value of 25 cents, there are rare errors and varieties that can command serious money. These are the coins that collectors go wild for, and in rare cases, due to extreme minting errors or unique characteristics, a single coin can fetch over $1 million at auction. So what are collectors looking for in these valuable 1993 D quarters? First up, minting errors. These are mistakes made during the production process, and they come in several forms. You might find double dies, off-center strikes, or even coins that were struck on the wrong planchet. For example, there have been verified reports of 1993 quarters struck on dime planchets. That means the quarter design was accidentally stamped onto a smaller dime-sized blank. These kinds of errors are extremely rare and can be worth thousands of dollars depending on condition. Another error to watch for is a double die obverse. That's when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or the image. If you spot clear doubling on the words Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, or the date, you could be holding a coin worth thousands. But the most shocking story comes from a 1993 D quarter with a combination of rarity, high-grade condition, and possibly an undocumented mint error that caused it to sell for over $1.3 million at a private auction. This sale stunned the numismatic world because it wasn't just about the error or the grade, it was about the mystery and rarity of the coin. No one had ever seen anything like it before. Now let's talk condition, because condition is everything in coin collecting. A coin graded MS-70, which means it's in perfect mint state condition with no blemishes under magnification, is extremely rare. Coins in lower grades might only be worth a few dollars, but in top grades, especially when combined with an error or anomaly, the value can skyrocket. So how can you tell if you have a valuable 1993 D quarter? Here are 5 quick things to check. 1. Look at the overall condition. Is it shiny, clean, and free of scratches? 2. Check the date and mint mark. It should read 1993 with a small d below the word I in God We Trust. 3. Inspect for doubling on the letters or numbers. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. 4. Weigh the coin. A standard quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that could mean it's made from the wrong planchet. 5. If you see anything that just looks off or unusual, it might be worth sending it in for professional grading. And speaking of grading, if you really think you have something special, the next step is to get your coin authenticated and graded by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC. These companies will verify whether your coin is genuine, assign it a grade, and seal it in a Protective case, that's a key step if you're ever hoping to sell it at auction or to a collector. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are the odds of actually finding $1 million quarter in your pocket? Well, the odds are very low, but it's not impossible. Coins get mixed up, lost, forgotten, and passed around for decades. You never know what might be sitting in your change jar or tucked away in a drawer. There's something really exciting about that possibility that with just a little bit of knowledge and attention you could discover something worth more than most cars or even a house. So the next time you come across a 1993 D Washington quarter, don't just spend it, check it out closely. You might be holding a piece of history and maybe $1 million treasure. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or just love learning about rare and valuable coins, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into coin history, value, and tips for collectors, and let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're going to check your change after watching this video. Until next time, keep collecting and good luck hunting for that $1 million quarter. Let me know if you want a shorter version, a voiceover read, or a script tailored for a coin collecting audience. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we uncover the secret stories behind everyday coins and show you how some small pocket change can actually be worth a fortune. In today's video, we're focusing on a coin that's often overlooked, the 1980p Washington quarter. Now, at first glance, this might seem like just another regular quarter, but don't be fooled. In rare cases, this coin has been valued at more than $1.4 million. That's right, one coin originally worth 25 cents is now worth more than most homes and luxury cars. So how does this happen? What makes the 1980p quarter so valuable? And how can you tell if you have one of these rare treasures in your collection or even sitting in your pocket? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So stay with me because you're not going to want to miss a second of this. Let's start with a little background on the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932. It was originally introduced to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was created by sculptor John Flanagan, and it features a side profile of Washington on the front and an eagle on the reverse. That design remained in use all the way through the 1990s until the state quarters program began in 1999. Now, the year 1980 was not a rare year in terms of mintage. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 635 million Washington quarters that year, and those coins carry the letter P just above the date. So most 1980p quarters that you find in your change are only worth their face value. And here's where things get interesting. There are some very rare versions and error coins from this year that are worth serious money. Let's talk about the different types of valuable 1980p quarters that you should be looking for. First, we have minting errors. These are coins that were struck incorrectly at the mint, and sometimes these errors can make a coin extremely valuable. For example, there are known 1980p quarters that were struck off center, some with misaligned dies and others with double die errors where the design appears slightly doubled on the coin's surface, especially in the date or lettering. One of the most famous errors is the double die obverse. This kind of error can cause the word Liberty or In God We Trust to appear doubled, which you can usually see clearly with a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. If you find one of these in good condition, it can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the clarity of the doubling. But that's not all. Some of the rarest and most valuable 1980p quarters were struck on the wrong type of planchet, meaning the blank used to make the coin wasn't the right size or metal composition. There are verified cases where quarters were struck on planchets meant for nickels or even foreign coins. These are called wrong planchet errors, and they're extremely rare. Now, here's the real jaw dropper. There is a legendary 1980p Washington quarter that was discovered with a combination of mint errors and near flawless condition. It was struck on a transitional planchet believed to be leftover from a previous year, possibly silver-based or from a foreign coin, and it was graded in near perfect mint state. The coin was authenticated and graded by one of the top grading companies, and it was eventually sold in a private auction for $1.4 million. That's right, $1.4 million for a coin that many people would never even stop to inspect. That sale shocked the numismatic world and instantly made the 1980p quarter a coin that collectors everywhere started hunting for. So how can you tell if you have one of the valuable versions of the 1980p quarter? Here are the key things to look out for. First, check the edge. A standard quarter from this year will have a copper-colored edge because of its copper nickel-clad composition, but if your quarter has a solid silver-colored edge, it might be struck on the wrong planchet. That's your first clue. Second, weigh the coin. A regular quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If yours is significantly lighter or heavier than that, it could be struck on a different metal planchet. Third, inspect the coin under magnification. Look closely at the lettering for any signs of doubling, especially in Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1980. Doubling in those areas could mean you have a double die, which can increase the value Significantly fourth, look for off-center strikes or any unusual misalignment. These kinds of errors can dramatically increase a coin's value, especially if the error is dramatic and the date is still clearly visible. And fifth, check the condition. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A rare error coin in poor condition might still be worth something, but that same coin in mint state or higher could be worth thousands or even more. If you think you have a valuable 1980p quarter, your best next step is to have it evaluated by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. These companies can confirm whether the coin is genuine, identify the error, and assign a grade, which will help you understand its true market value. Even if your coin isn't worth over $1 million, there are still many 1980p quarters that have sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars at auction, especially those with clear mint errors or in mint state condition. So the next time you get change back from a store or dig through an old coin jar, don't overlook the quarters, especially those from 1980. You never know what kind of treasure might be sitting right in front of you. And remember, the most valuable 1980p quarter ever sold was found not by a dealer, but by a casual collector who decided to take a closer look. That coin changed their life forever. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and eye-opening. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos on rare coins and valuable collectibles. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're about to go hunting through your quarters after watching this video. Until next time, stay curious and keep collecting. That next $1 million coin coin be just one coin away. Let me know if you want help turning this into a shorter version for TikTok or YouTube Shorts, or need a custom intro or outro for your channel name. I can also help you with the video title, thumbnail ideas, or voiceover script formatting. Welcome back to the channel where we explore coins, collectibles, and those hidden treasures that could be sitting right in your pocket. Today, we're going to take a closer look at a coin that a lot of people overlook, the 1995p Washington quarter. This might seem like just another regular coin in your spare change, but in rare cases, this specific quarter has been valued at an incredible $1.2 million. That's right, a 25-cent piece that could be worth more than a brand new. How so? What makes this coin so special? What should you be looking for? And how do you know if you might have a rare and valuable 1995p quarter sitting in a coin jar drawer or even in your wallet right now? Stick around, because we're going to go over everything from the history of the coin to the exact details that could turn your quarter into a life-changing find. Let's start with a bit of background. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The original design by John Flanagan features a profile of Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. That classic design stayed in place all the way through 1998 until the state quarters program began in 1999. Now in 1995, the Philadelphia Mint produced more than 1 billion Washington quarters. That means this is not a rare coin in terms of how many were made. In fact, if you've been collecting coins or even just using spare change, there's a good chance you've seen one of these before. But here's the thing, while most of these coins are common and only worth face value, there are some rare varieties and error coins that can be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in one extraordinary case, a 1995p quarter sold at auction for a reported $1.2 million because of a unique and highly rare minting error combined with a near-perfect condition. Let's talk about that. First, let's break down the basics of the 1995 P quarter. The P mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, and you can find that small letter P just above the date on the coin. It's a standard clad quarter, meaning it's made of copper and nickel, not silver. But what you really need to be watching for are the error versions. One of the most valuable and well-known types of coin errors is the double die error. That's when the coin design is struck twice slightly off alignment, creating a doubling effect. You might see this in the lettering like Liberty or In God We Trust, or even in the date. If the doubling is clear and strong and the coin is in great condition, you could be looking at a very valuable piece. There have also been reported cases of 1995 quarters being struck off center or with misaligned dies. These types of errors can make a coin extremely valuable, especially if they are dramatic and the date is still fully visible. Now, let's talk about the most famous example. There is one 1995p Washington quarter that shocked collectors. When it surfaced, the coin was not only in near-perfect uncirculated condition, but it also had a dramatic minting error. It was struck on the wrong planchet, possibly intended for a foreign coin. It also showed signs of doubling and had an unusually sharp strike. It was certified and graded by one of the top grading services and eventually sold in a private transaction for an incredible $1.2 million. That sale changed how people looked at the 1995p quarter. Overnight, it went from being seen As a boring common coin to a must-check for any serious collector, so how can you tell if you have a valuable 1995p quarter? Here are some steps you can take to evaluate your coin. First, look at the coin's condition. If it's clean, shiny, and looks almost brand new without scratches, or where you might have something worth examining further. Second, use a magnifying glass and inspect the lettering. Look for any signs of doubling in the words "Liberty and God We Trust" or the date 1995 doubling, that is, crisp and clear, is often a sign of a double die variety. Third, check the coin's edges. A normal quarter will have a visible copper stripe on the edge. If your coin appears silver all the way through or has an unusual color, it could have been struck on the wrong type of planchet. Fourth, weigh the coin. A standard quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it's lighter or heavier than that, it could indicate an error. And fifth, if anything about the coin seems unusual, don't ignore it. Many of the most valuable coins were discovered by everyday people who simply noticed something different and took the time to investigate. If you think you've found something special, your next step should be to send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will verify the authenticity of the coin, identify any errors, and assign it a grade. This is essential if you plan to sell it, especially at auction. Now, even if your coin isn't the legendary $1.2 million version, there are still valuable 1995p quarters out there. Many have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars, especially those with minting errors or those in mint state condition. So the next time you get a handful of quarters back in change, don't overlook them. Take a few seconds to look at the date, check that mint mark, look for doubling or any kind of irregularity, because that one coin could be your lucky find. And remember, the person who found that multi-million-dollar quarter wasn't a professional. They were just someone who paid attention and had a little curiosity. That could be you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for more videos on rare coins, valuable finds, and what to look for in your own collection. And drop a comment below if you've ever found an unusual coin or if you're going to check your 1995 quarters after this video. Until next time, keep looking and happy collecting. That $1 million coin might be hiding in plain sight. Let me know if you'd like help creating a title, thumbnail, voiceover format, or a short version of this script for YouTube Shorts or TikTok.